Hello, everyone. Welcome to our educational program Insights with myself and Keadar. I'm very excited to present this bespoke, incredible program to you today. We're going to go in very deeply into what this program consists of, what are the different levels about. We'll speak to Keadar. She will give us the insights into how she created this program and, everything that goes into it. But first, I want to tell you a little story. About 10 years ago, when I only just began my spiritual journey, and I was, watching a couple of videos on YouTube, reading a couple of books, and I think a lot of you will relate to that. I felt very sort of confused, and especially in this world of digital marketing, when you Google one thing and then all of a sudden you get ads for all these different spiritual practices. And I remember just opening my laptop and seeing like um, you know Kundalini yoga, or open your third eye, or become a Reiki master, in a matter of days. I just felt so incredibly overwhelmed. I didn't know where to actually begin, where to start, what to do. And instead of all these spiritual practices, benefiting me and helping me, I actually felt like I needed to take a step back. And this is when I realized that I really needed a teacher. This is when I started asking the universe to bring a teacher into my life to help me, to sort of guide me, to be there by my side, and sort of help me navigate these spiritual waters, and help me on this path. And if you are a part of Spirit Mountain Academy, you know that we have a group of fantastic teachers on there already. And this is one of the reasons that Spirit Mountain Academy was created, is because I was lucky to meet so many fantastic, incredible individuals that have a wealth of wisdom and knowledge. And I'm lucky enough to share it with you and to be able to give a little piece of wisdom to every single one of you. And today we are joined by a fantastic Keadar. Hello, Keadar, and welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here.
Absolutely. This program, The Art of Healing, it's so dear to my heart because it was created out of almost a necessity to share that knowledge that Keadar has. And for those of you that haven't met Keadar before, she is one of the best healers I've ever come across. She is extremely intuitive, wonderfully compassionate. She's also an oracle, and she comes from a family of lots of different healers. So both of her parents are healers, and they're healers from different lineages. So I'll let Kara talk to you a little bit more about that. So if you don't mind, just telling us a little bit more about your background, about your story, about your family.
Thank you so much for the introduction. That was a beautiful introduction. I'm also glad to be able to share my knowledge with you and everyone who's interested. So, like you said, I come from a healing family background, and they have different practices because my father is actually from a Buddhist family. And he was trained in healing when he was younger, in his youth, sometime, by a rishi. I don't know if you've heard of the word rishi.
You don't mind explaining that? A lot of people haven't heard. It's a very specific Buddhist term, so it would be great if you could explain.
It's actually a lineage, a tradition that existed in India. And it is said that it was the rishis who wrote the Vedas. And this is a long, an old ancient tradition of wise people who practiced things on their own, and they were practically like living Buddha. They were on spiritual quest, they were on spiritual path, and they were more or less a solitary practitioner. So they are kind of like priests, but they didn't live in monastery. They were out on their own, contemplating, meditating. And this tradition also came to Southeast Asia. So that also exists in Thailand, where I come from. They don't really live in the open. You might come across one or two. You might hear of them here and there. They still exist. But usually they prefer, being living quietly on their own, contemplating and working on themselves. And a lot of them are actually good with healing too, because these are the people who actually practice energy work as well as spiritual development. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but if you work on yourself enough, at some point you're going to gain some sort of power. Some people become more psychic, some people have the ability to heal. It depends on which channel is closest to you, which channel is already inside of you, right? So these are the rishis, and my father was lucky enough to have lived with one. He actually lived with this teacher of his, this master, for a few years, and he learned a healing ritual, which he actually passed on to me later. So that's my father's side. And then on my mother's side, well, there has been generations of healers in this lineage. I mean, my grandfather was a healer, my great grandfather, and before that, like, who knows how many generations back. So I'm probably like at least the fifth or even sixth or more generation of healer in this lineage. But again, this is a different tradition, because my mother's family is actually Muslim. And even though my mom heals, she's more on prayers. She's the faith healer. Like, you can call that a faith healer, because she would heal people and help people through prayers, because her prayers are strong enough that you will feel the effect. And actually, we'll talk about this in the program too. But then her father, my grandfather, was also an herbalist, and he was more of a shaman. And if you know anything about the history of Southeast Asia, a lot of people were Buddhist and, shamanic Buddhist, a mix of both before Islam even came. So even in the regions where people are now Muslim, like in Malaysia and Indonesia, healers and magic practitioners still hold something from that era, from the Buddhist shamanic era. And that's what actually ran in my family until my mom's like, no, we're going pure religious. So yeah, so and then growing up in Thailand, where people practically meditate, it's a Buddhist country, so the concept of meditation is like not a new thing. I was 6 years old. I went to school, and then the teacher was like, okay, now we sit down, breathe in, breathe out, count 1, 2. So basically meditated. Then when I was 6, then this was common, still is common. So that's how I grew up, like with all these spiritual practices and energy work everywhere.
I love it. I absolutely love it. This is incredible, like teaching, the very the our younger generation, kids that are 6 years old, to even sit down, take a moment, breathe in and breathe out. This is all absolutely fantastic. And it sounds very foreign to a lot of people in the West. On myself, I'm from Ukraine, so for us, meditation, even now, to some people, if you even say the word meditation, they get very lost and confused. They don't necessarily know what it means. They think it's all this water stuff, and they don't really understand it. So I really do appreciate connecting with people people like yourself and being able to learn from you. And please tell us a little bit more about the program, because the art of healing is not just a course. And I want for everyone that's watching to actually understand that this is it's a comprehensive program. So this is something that is not to be taken lightly. This is the program that will last for 3 years, well, 2 years minimum. We'll get into that in a second. But it is something that you need to commit to. You really need to be devoted and need to understand what exactly is required of you in order to participate in this. And Keadar, could you please give us a few more details about the program? Just, in your own words, what it is all about.
So here's the reason why I wanted to create this program the way it is intended. Coming from that background and culture, knowing that if you work on yourself enough, you will gain a lot of powers as a side effect. And healing is one of the things that you can acquire. And then coming to the West, and then I see that there are a lot of courses available in the market. It's like, if you're interested, you can, participate in this course and that course. Like you said in the beginning, there are a lot of courses available out there. And then I realized that people could go to, let's say, a Reiki course for the weekend, one weekend, and then they are certified Reiki practitioners. I'm like, how is that even possible? Yes, I know that once the healing channel is open, you're able to channel the Reiki and the healing energy will flow through your hand. So that's the beauty of it. It's like, anyone can learn to channel this energy, but the problem that comes with it is that a lot of people go to just the weekend, and then meditation and self-work is not emphasized. And people are like, okay, now I have this tool. Now I can give healing. And some people think they're special. Some people think they're magical. And then this ego, the stuff they haven't worked on, they haven't dealt with, the self-work, the inner work that was supposed to be done was not done. And then it shows in how messy it has become. Because if you talk to a lot of good healers, when they hear the word Reiki, there's like, ooh, I do know a few people who is like almost allergic to the word Reiki. And I have a good friend who's also a great healer, an amazing person. When she heard the word Reiki, she was like,